Every cop has one moment they wish they could take back. For Sergeant Griffin, this was that moment. Stay with us to hear the full story. And drop a comment to let us know where you're watching from. It's midday in Clearwater Hills, Illinois. The sun blazes over quiet streets lined with manicured lawns and picket fence predictability. The kind of neighborhood where sprinklers hum, Labradors nap on porches, and nothing really happens. Sergeant Miles Griffin steers his cruiser with one hand, the other draped casually across the dash. 2 decades in uniform has built him into a man of routine, stern, no nonsense, convinced he knows what trouble looks like before it even speaks. And in his world, that gut feeling has never been wrong. That is, until now. Up ahead, he sees her, a black woman in her 40s, athletic, composed, jogging with quiet purpose. Her earbuds are in. Her stride is focused. She's not distracted, not hurried, but something about her unsettles him. Maybe it's the confidence, the silence, the fact that she didn't even glance at his squad car. That alone feels like a challenge. Maybe it's the Tesla parked in the driveway she passed. Did she just leave it? Was she scoping it out? Or is his mind just filling in blanks that don't exist? Still, he pulls over. Tires crackle against the road as he steps out. One hand casually resting on his utility belt, not threatening, but intentional. A silent reminder of authority. She slows, pops out an earbud. Her breathing is calm but alert, sweat glistening across her brow. She doesn't flinch, doesn't fumble, just stares level. Something wrong, officer? Her tone is cool, controlled. Where you coming from? His voice is clipped, measured. She pauses, eyes flicking up the block. My house. Just out for a run. Where's home? She tilts her head, subtle shift in posture. Not afraid, just aware. Couple blocks over. Got ID on you? There it is. The question, the shift, the moment everything begins to go wrong. Something in her face changes, barely, but enough. The relaxed confidence in her body stiffens, her jaw tightening just a bit. Griffin notices. He lifts his chin, eyes narrowing. He doesn't like the feeling of pushback, especially not when he's the one asking questions. Just need to confirm everything's in order, he says, voice cool, dismissive. She lets out a sharp breath, both hands planted on her hips now. So, stopping a woman for jogging in broad daylight, that's your version of keeping the peace? He doesn't answer. And that silence? It says plenty. She gives a small, bitter laugh, pulling her phone out. You know what? Let me call someone who still remembers what justice actually looks like. Griffin steps closer, not rushing, not threatening, but with intent. Ma'am, he says firmer now. I'm not asking again. Show me some ID. Her grip on the phone tightens. He sees it. To him, that's a sign. To her, it's protection. But in his mind, the temperature just spiked, and the situation in his eyes just became official. What he doesn't see. He's walking into the worst decision of his professional life. The block is quiet. A breeze stirs the leaves. Far-off traffic hums in the background. But for Simone Daniels, this moment has shrunk the whole world into a single point of tension. One man, one badge, one stare that's far too close. She's lived this script before. She knows how it plays out when a black woman dares to push back against authority. But she also knows exactly where she stands. I don't have to carry ID to go for a run, she says clearly, voice steady. Griffin adjusts his footing, expression unreadable. That's so, he mutters. That's law, she replies, calm, sure unmoved. But Griffin reads the moment differently. To him, it's not assertiveness, it's defiance. He scans the street again. It's quiet. A few front porches with still curtains. 1 or 2 neighbors, half watching from a distance, but no one stepping in. I'm following up on suspicious behavior, he says, his voice clipped and official. What behavior? She shoots back. He falters for a beat. He hadn't expected this much pushback. You ran past a property with a luxury vehicle out front, he says flatly, like that alone is reason enough. Simone lets out a sharp laugh, dry and sharp. The Tesla? You're telling me running near a parked car is cause for suspicion now. Griffin's jaw tightens. You're refusing to identify yourself. I'm refusing to be profiled, she fires back. That word, profiled, hits him like a match to gasoline. His badge, his judgment, his presence, all being called into question in broad daylight. He steps in. You're interfering with my investigation. Simone doesn't flinch. I'm interfering with nothing. You're misusing your authority, and we both know it. She moves her hand slightly toward her phone again, and Griffin doesn't think. He reacts. His hand snaps forward, grabbing her wrist in a single motion. It's fast, sudden, the shift from tense words to raw action. 1 second she's standing tall. The next, her arms yanked behind her, steel glinting in the sunlight. "What are you doing?" she yells, twisting in disbelief. "You're being arrested for obstruction," Griffin states, flat and robotic, like he's reciting a line from memory. Heads begin to turn. A man lounging on his porch pulls out his phone, thumb tapping to record. Across the street, a woman stands still, hands frozen around her grocery bag, watching every move. "You're making a big mistake," Simone says through gritted teeth, trying to keep her voice calm, her breathing even. Griffin pulls the cuffs tighter, ignoring the growing number of eyes on him. "You should have just followed instructions," he mutters coldly. Simone exhales sharply through her nose. Her heart pounds, her muscles tense, but when she speaks, her voice holds steady. "You don't even know who I am." He doesn't flinch, doesn't ask, doesn't care, but maybe he should, because the moment those cuffs snapped closed, his day, his career, started unraveling. The metal bites into her wrists as he jerks her arms further back. Her chest moves in shallow, deliberate breaths. Not panic, preparation. This isn't new to her. Not exactly. Different city, same playbook. Same abuse masquerading as order. Griffin doesn't see the flaw. He sees a win. Another name, another report, another person restrained. In his mind, this is how control is kept. But the energy around him is shifting. People are watching now. A small crowd gathers, quiet but charged. The man filming hasn't lowered his phone. A woman at her mailbox speaks up, voice firm, clear. She didn't do anything wrong. He doesn't answer, doesn't look her way. He lifts his radio. "Dispatch, I've got one detained. Female, refused to identify, requesting transport." Simone lets out a bitter chuckle, low and knowing. "You really think this ends in your favor, don't you?" Griffin says nothing. He doesn't need to. Authority, he believes, will shield him. It always has. But then a new voice cuts in from the sidewalk. "Excuse me, officer. What exactly is going on here?" A sharply dressed man in his 50s steps forward, his presence commanding in a way that makes him stand out from arrest. His suit jacket rests casually over one shoulder, but his sharp gaze bounces from Simone to the cuffs, then zeroes in on Griffin. Griffin stiffens but holds his ground. "Sir, I need you to step back." The man doesn't budge. Instead, he narrows his eyes at Simone, then at Griffin. "I asked you a question. What's going on here?" "She was uncooperative," Griffin replies, his tone still authoritative, but with a slight crack of uncertainty. The man raises an eyebrow. "Uncooperative? How?" Simone lets out a frustrated breath, her head shaking slowly. "He stopped me mid-jog, asked for ID. I told him I wasn't required to carry one. Now I'm in cuffs." The man turns back to Griffin, disbelief crossing his face. "You arrested her for running?" "She refused to comply with an active investigation," Griffin says, though even he hears how weak it sounds. The man's expression cools. "Is that so?" Something in the atmosphere shifts. Griffin feels it, eyes narrowing, attention sharpening. He suddenly becomes aware of how quiet the street has gotten, how this man, this stranger, isn't intimidated in the slightest. Then the low hum of tires rolls in as a black SUV pulls to the curb. Dark windows, government plates. Griffin knows the type. It screams authority. The driver door swings open. Out steps Captain Elliot Turner, Griffin's superior, and judging by the look on his face, he's not here for pleasantries. The small crowd instinctively clears a path as Briggs makes his way through. His stride is purposeful. His eyes don't leave Griffin for a second. The tension? Palpable. The reckoning? Close. Griffin squares his shoulders, trying to project authority, But his confidence starts to wobble. Briggs stops just short of him, scanning from officer to detainee, his jaw visibly clenched. Then he speaks, just 2 words, but they land like a thunderclap. "Let her go." Griffin freezes. "Sir." Briggs steps closer. "You heard me. Now." The demand hits like static in Griffin's brain. Release a detainee? In front of all these witnesses? He stalls. Briggs turns to Simone, eyes softening. "Ma'am, I sincerely apologize. Are you hurt?" She keeps her posture steady, head lifting slightly. "No, I'm okay." Griffin's stomach churns. Something isn't right. Briggs sighs, sharp, controlled, then looks his officer dead in the eye. "Do you even realize that you just cuffed?" Everything stills. The street feels like it's holding its breath. Griffin swallows, knuckles tightening. She didn't comply, wouldn't give her name. Briggs steps into a space now, voice low and clipped. That's because she didn't have to. Griffin's heart rattles. The SUV, the eyes, the weight of every gaze. Briggs isn't just correcting him, he's livid. Simone steps forward, calm and measured. "My name," she says evenly, "is Chief Renee Morgan." Griffin forgets how to breathe. She lets it hang in the air, lets the silence stretch. Then she drops the hammer, voice cool and unmistakably firm. "And you just put your superior in handcuffs." The words detonate. A tidal wave of realization crashes down. Griffin's throat dries up. The crowd watches like a jury. Phones recording, mouths murmuring. The entire moment folds in on itself. And somehow, it's just beginning. Griffin locks up. The words land like a gut punch, knocking the air clean out of him. His hands are still clutching the cuffs, but his mind is spinning, trying to catch up. Chief? Chief Renee Morgan? His superior. The woman. He just paraded like a criminal. Right here, out in the open, with half the neighborhood watching. Then Briggs' voice slices through the thick silence. "Take them off. Now!" No room for questions. No space for pride. This time, Griffin moves. His fingers fumble awkwardly, unlocking the cuffs as Simone slowly pulls her hands free. She rubs her wrists, red and raw from the metal, and he can barely meet her eyes. The crowd is frozen, the weight in the air almost unbearable. Phone still held high. And that man in the suit, his eyes burn with something colder than anger. Griffin feels it crawl under his skin. Simone inhales deeply, composed on the outside, but her stare? It's flint. She squares her shoulders and faces him dead on. "You think that badge makes you untouchable?" Her voice is low, sharp, that it gives you permission to decide who belongs and who doesn't. She doesn't shout. She doesn't need to. You see a black woman jogging and think she's a threat? Griffin tries to speak, opens his mouth, but there's nothing, just the roar of regret between his ears. Simone narrows her gaze. "I watched you make a choice today. You didn't know my name, so you filled in the blanks with fear." She leans in slightly, her voice steady. And that says everything. Griffin shifts on his heels. Heat rises into his face, but he can't look away. Simone closes the space between them, her voice low and direct, meant only for him. "You grabbed me. You embarrassed me. You were ready to throw me in the back of a cruiser. For what?" Her words hit like a slap, wrapped in calm. "If I wasn't wearing this badge, if I didn't have this rank, you know how that would have ended." Griffin swallows hard. His fingers twitch, unsure what to do, what to say. She doesn't flinch, just leans in a little closer, her tone like ice wrapped in fire. "How many times have you done this before?" That one cracks him wide open, because the truth, it isn't once, and it sure as hell isn't never. Briggs moves forward, voice steady but commanding. "Sergeant Griffin, you're officially relieved of duty. Effective now. Badge and weapon." The word stings sharper than he expects. His fingers hover at his belt. Pride wants a fight, but reality stares him down. The silence is thick. And then, slowly, he unclips the badge, places it in Briggs' open hand. Then the sidearm. His chest thunders with shame, but he masks it behind a blank stare. Simone watches him, not with anger, not with smugness, just a heavy, hollow kind of disappointment. She shakes her head once and exhales, quiet and slow. "You need to take a long, honest look in the mirror, Sergeant," she says, "because nothing will ever be the same after this." Griffin says nothing. What could he possibly offer that wouldn't sound hollow? The weight of what he's done hangs on him like soaked concrete. As he steps away, the camera still captures every move. The whispers in the crowd still ripple. But it's not the public humiliation that hits hardest. It's the truth. Today, he didn't just cross a line. He revealed something about himself. And there's no hiding from that. He sits alone in his cruiser, engine silent, eyes locked on the steering wheel. His hands rest on his thighs, fingers curled slightly, still holding the ghost of the cuffs he slapped onto her wrists. No badge, no weapon, no shield to hide behind, just silence and a sinking weight in his chest. He finally lifts his gaze. The street outside looks unchanged, quiet, suburban, picture perfect. The same lawns, same sidewalks. But everything feels off-kilter now, like the illusion cracked and something raw was exposed beneath it. Across the street, Chief Renee Morgan stands near her SUV, speaking to Briggs. Her voice is calm, her movement steady, but in her eyes there's fire, and power, and clarity. People watch her now, not with suspicion, not with fear, but with respect. Griffin sees it, feels it, and for the first time in decades, doubt slips in. He built a career on control, on instinct, on believing he always knew right from wrong. But today his instinct betrayed him. And in that betrayal, he lost far more than his job. He lost the story he told himself about who he was. Briggs wraps up his conversation and walks off toward his car. Simone pauses. Then she turns, meeting Griffin's eyes through the glass. She doesn't say a word, just holds the stare. 1 beat, 2. Then she gives the smallest shake of her head. Disappointed. Final. She gets into her SUV and drives away. Griffin tracks the red tail lights until they vanish. His chest tightens. He lets out a slow breath, hands gripping the wheel like it's the only thing keeping him grounded. A year ago, he would have doubled down, told himself he followed protocol, that she overreacted, that it was just another civilian pushing back too hard. But now he's not so sure. And that uncertainty, it terrifies him. He always believed authority meant certainty, that a badge came with clarity. But power doesn't live in a title. It lives in how you choose to use it. Simone didn't need to raise her voice to remind him of that. For the first time, he wonders, how many others had no badge, no name, no rank, just fear and truth, and still got cuffed anyway? This isn't just about him. This isn't just about today. It's about the pattern. A system that whispers order but too often delivers injustice. So the question now isn't who messed up. The question is, who's finally going to break the cycle? And who's still pretending it doesn't exist? Like this video, if it moved you, share it with someone who needs a reminder of their own strength. And hit subscribe to discover more true stories.